Just I was working on this music. Was working on the music, right? Machis come. Just there's an Zoom going on. I'll just keep it for charging. Yeah, Mama, Machis come. Yeah. Amchi ഇവിടെ ഞാൻ ഇവിടെ ഞാൻ ആ ആ നിൽക്കുക വരുന്നു വരുന്നു ഇവിടെ കുറച്ചുണ്ട് ബിസിയാണ് Ishu, this is a Zoom meeting going on. Why is no sound coming? Okay, talking.
Good afternoon to all those who have come in. We will begin in a couple of moments. Just a few things I would like to say. You are on mute and your camera is also not enabled. You can put any questions on Q&A or on chat, but please make sure that you put out questions which are pertaining to this presentation and webinar, which is rock and pop vocals. So we'll just give it another 2-3 minutes and we will begin. A very good afternoon to everyone and welcome to our Wednesday webinar. Today's webinar is Teaching Trinity Rock and Pop Vocals, one of our most popular subjects. And these webinars that we have been doing, we've done guitar and drums, and today's vocals, and the next 2 weeks will be keyboards and bass. These are a little different from our usual webinars generally workshops that we do, which are totally focused on the syllabus. We moved a little away from that in this, and we are highlighting and showcasing elements of the syllabus that are very, very important, such as the kind of styles, the techniques, the theoretical concepts that are necessary for doing these exams and singing these songs in the syllabus. We will talk a little bit about syllabus requirements, not too much, but you can get the syllabus for free download from our website and go through it in details. As you can see on your screen, we have a large array of bigwigs from our academic consultant team. We have the very experienced Farida from Pune. Farida is a singer and a pianist, a choral conductor, music educator. The multi-talented Anson Matthews and Albert John. Anson from Kochi, also a music educator. He's a producer and conductor, as well as a singer and a performing artist. Albert is from Ludhiana, and he too is a performing artist, music educator, composer, everything all rolled into one. And they both play several instruments and sing, of course. Krizan comes to us from Mumbai, and she too is a music educator. She looks very young, but she's not the baby in the group. And she's also a composer and a performer. So without much ado, I'm going to hand over to my co-hosts who will be taking you through this webinar. And I hope you're going to enjoy it as much as we have enjoyed putting this together for you all. So Farida, I'd like to hand over to you. A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of you who have taken the time to be a part of this webinar for rock and pop vocals. Let's begin with a little bit about rock and roll music. Rock and roll music originated in the 1950s and it spread like wildfire all over the world. It was influenced by different kinds of music, like blues, jazz, even classical music. And it soon became all together with a huge wave of popularity and fandom. Through the years, rock and roll music plays a high emphasis on live performance. And this is one of the main aspects of the music. The singer is usually always at the heart of the performance. Musical talent. Realizing this, Trinity College London came up with the rock and pop exams designed to move students and aspiring musicians towards a high level of musical perception. This was done by using song lists that span a huge range of musical styles. There are many artists featured in this selection, ranging from the Beatles to Guns N' Roses, from Michael Jackson to Bob Dylan, Taylor Swift to George Michael. The list is long and there's something for everyone in it. So, what is contemporary music? Contemporary music can well be defined as popular music, or as we know it, pop music, ranging from soft rock to ballads to blues to hard rock, with styles that include soul, rhythm and blues, gospel rock, popular music. It all comes together as popular music. This music is played and performed in all languages all over the world. And let's look at the next question. What is a contemporary musician? A musician who can play over a variety of styles using a variety of techniques. And the wonderful thing about contemporary musicians is they usually have no formal training. Rock and pop exams set up by Trinity College London realize the need to develop and enhance the raw talent seen in so many talented musicians. This is done by developing a set of skills. Along with turning out a good performer, the experience can be described as enriching, or in a more appropriate language for rockers, rock star, cool music, amazing music, and there's an international certificate to boot. So this makes it a really worthwhile proposition. This singer needs no introduction to most of you. Adele, an English songwriter and a vocalist with a magical voice, a magnetic stage presence, a real diva. Watching her answers a lot of questions about how important a singer is to a band. A singer, whether in the studio or in a live concert, is the focal point of the band, bringing musicians together. A singer makes the music come alive. A singer personalizes the music through the lyrics and breathes life and soul into a performance. So I might be a little biased here, but the singer is the focal point of the band. No two things about it. Let's move on to something else which is very, very important to most music educators, and that is the anatomy of singing. The technical approach to using the voice, known by several as vocal hygiene, is very, very important to all singers. Without the correct technique, there is every possible situation that might arise with voice strain. And therefore, to avoid this, to save the voice, to prevent overstrain, and handle the vocal demands of the music, it is very, very essential that all singers practice correct vocal hygiene. The diagram clearly illustrates this. There are 4 important points to remember. The first is the foundation. Always remember to breathe down to the diaphragm, expand the lungs fully so that there is a good foundation for the voice to be carried on. The second is the flow of air that needs to support and carry the voice forward. The third, the floor, which is actually the lower part of the face, the jaw, the lower jaw, needs to be dropped, needs to be open in order for the sound to really be strong and pleasant. And the last point, which is focus, that includes the way notes are being placed, their position on the vocal scale, as well as a definite consideration of what these sounds are going to be like to an audience. Let's move on to the styles used by rock and pop artists. These are numerous, and we're going to deal with them in a little bit of detail later on in this webinar. But styles depend on several things. There's a production of tone, which must suit the particular style in which you're singing. Posture, which goes hand in hand with correct breathing, because as we know, a lot of rock and pop artists prefer to sit and sing. Some of them stand and sing, some of them lie down on the stage and sing. But the main thing to keep in mind is keep a relaxed posture, a good straight upper body, because this will allow for correct breathing, for diaphragmatic breathing, as I just mentioned earlier. Articulation of consonants, crisp and clear. There should be clean, open enunciations of vowels, and very often, style will determine the technique used. So let's always remember, sound technique equals effective interpretation, equals good tone, equals wonderful performance, and you're set to rock. I'm going to now hand over to Anson for the use of the mic.
Thank you, Anjali ma'am and Farida ma'am, for that wonderful introduction. Yes, now moving on to mic and mic techniques. Why is a microphone important? A microphone is an integral part in today's live stage sessions, as all other instruments are amplified. A microphone amplifies your voice making it more audible on stage. That brings us to the question, does it make our voice better? Yes, if we know the right equipment and the right technique, microphones will surely make our voice sound much better on stage. That being said, there are two basic types of microphones, a dynamic microphone and a condenser microphone. Generally, a dynamic mic is used in live situations because they are robust, less sensitive, and doesn't require an extra power to run them. Lower sensitivity makes dynamic microphones less prone to feedback and bleed, helping the sound engineer to give a very good mix. However, condenser microphones are very much popular in controlled environments like a studio. That's where you get all the subtle nuances from the singer's voice. These days, there are many audio professionals who prefer to use specially designed condenser mics to get the best of both worlds. This is an example for a dynamic microphone, and this is an example for a condenser microphone. So you can see this is upright and looks just like a studio microphone. Now moving on to the next, mic techniques for live on stage musicians. So there are some things that you need to keep in mind when you are singing up on stage. What are they? The first one is sandbagging the sound check. You might be wondering, what is sandbagging? Sandbagging means not to give your best performance during the sound check. Yes, it is okay to conserve your energy for the final gig, but always safe to exhibit your dynamic range to the engineer so that he can give you a better mix throughout the show. This is really important not only for a rock and roll stage situation, but also for a rock and pop vocal exam as well. That is the reason why you get a 30-second sound check just before the assessment begins. So make sure you don't sandbag during the sound check. Next, eating the microphone. Yes, trust me, we all have done this. We move the microphones too close. Yes, give a little bit of space. Even a good 4-inch will thicken up your voice and make your voice pop out just fine. Eating the microphone will only make your sound more muffled and reduce clarity of singing. Make sure you give enough space between your lips and the microphone to get the best tone out of your microphone. Moving on to the next one, cupping the microphone. Cupping the microphones can make you look cool on stage, but they can destroy the sound as it can pick up sound from everything else on stage, also altering the tone of your vocals. So make sure you hold the mic correctly without placing your palm on the head of the microphones. So this is right, this is wrong. Next thing you should keep in mind is dreadful aim and distancing. If the microphone were a flashlight, you'd literally want it to brighten up your smile. That's where you should be pointing your microphones, not anywhere else, especially when you're in a live performance. Make sure you at least have some 4 inches of space between the microphone and lips and aim at the right direction to get a well balanced and even tone. Next one is creeping in front of a PA. What do you mean by creeping in front of PA? Yes. Please note where the speakers are positioned and make sure you don't go right in front of it. This can cause unnecessary howling and feedback to creep in, which can spoil your performance and can also damage your ears if you're standing too close to the speakers. Make sure you draw a mental line and stay away from creeping in front of the PA system. Moving on to the next one. Effects modules for singers. Any performing live vocalist nowadays use an effect module which gives them different options and different effects to enhance their voice on stage. Make sure you know what effects that you are using and also see that you use them correctly so that they can enhance your performance really well. Commonly used effects are a reverb effect. Everybody knows a reverb effect. A reverb effect is created when a sound is reflected, causing numerous reflections to build up and decay as the sound is absorbed by surfaces like furniture, people, and air. Kind of like a sustain effect without actually sustaining your voice. Let's listen how it sounds. That was a dry voice, now with a reverb. Hey, hope you got that. Next, we come to the echo. What is echo effect? Echo effects are used as an audio effect based on delaying a source of sound over time. Listeners perceive distinct echo when time delay is relatively long, say greater than 30 milliseconds. Let's listen to a dry voice and then with an echo. Yes, echo effect. Going on to the next effect, which is delay. Delay is an effect which is quite similar to echo, but the reflections happen much faster. Delay effects range from subtle echo effect to a pronounced blending of previous sounds with new sounds. Let's listen to a dry voice and then with a delay effect. Now with the effect. Yes. In music, a chorus effect is the doubling of vocals approximately the same time and very similar pitches. It has a rich, shimmering quality that would be absent if the sound came from a single source. The shimmer occurs because of blending of voices together. Let's listen to a dry sound and with the effect. Now with the effect. Hope that was evident. Now moving on to the full syllabus, handing the presentation to Anjali ma'am.
Thank you very much, Anson, and thank you, Farida. Anson, that was really, really useful, and I'm sure you'll all agree with me. These are some details that we tend to ignore when we are teaching or learning, and they are so important for a good performance. So, as I said in the beginning, this presentation is a little different from what we usually do. I also promised we'd give you a little look at our syllabus, which I'm going to do now. But first, please watch a very short video. There were certain words that popped out at us from the video. There was the word real 3 times, and it said real songs, which is what we use for our syllabus. These are existing songs arranged as per the requirement of the grades. Real skills. Real skills meaning the skills required to perform these songs. And of course, real progress through our grades from initial to grade 8. And the last thing we saw was what we reiterate all the time. It's all about performance. We encourage you to be a better performer through these various aspects of learning and exams. So now I'm going to give you a little more information, not really go into details, but what is our exam about? Most of you will know that you need to perform 3 songs, and these songs carry 80 marks. The third song that you perform is called a technical focus song, which carries little extra marks, 30 marks there, 25 for the others. And this one tests your techniques, which are marked out in the book before the song. So we have not put in any kind of scales, chords, or technical work and exercises, but through the performance of a song, we test the techniques that we have designed for each grade. The rest of the 20 marks go to session skills. Farida mentioned in the beginning that a singer can also be a session musician. So, who or what is a session musician? Session musician is one who performs or records in a studio. He may also travel with a band as not a permanent member, but playing along with the band for a tour or for certain gigs. The skills most needed to be a session musician is what we test here: playback and improvising. It's important, and we all know that a musician may walk into a recording studio and that morning be given the music that he is to perform. So he has to be very quick on the uptake, and he needs to be able to reproduce it very quickly. Again, on the other hand, if he's performing with a band, you certainly may be asked to improvise over a certain chord sequence. So we have put this in as session skills, and you choose one of these for the exam. But of course, as I always say, please go through all of them because they are very useful developing your musical skills. A little bit of information I'm going to give you, not about the syllabus, because that is all in the book or the download you can get from the website, but about before the exam and in that exam room. So assistance to set up for the exam is permitted up to grade 5. From grade 6 onwards, candidates need to set up themselves. For our vocals exams, all types of male and female voices may enter for the exam, and you may transpose the song if you feel the pitch does not suit your voice. But do remember, if you are transposing the song, you will need to carry the transposed backing track into the exam room, as the examiner will not have it. Microphones we spoke at length about, but here is how it's applied in our exam. At the initial grade, you may perform without a mic. We do encourage candidates to use a mic, but it is not compulsory for any songs. At grades 1 to 3, candidates must use a microphone for song 3, that is the technical focus song. It is advised, but it is not compulsory for songs 1 and 2. At the 4 and 5 level, again, the microphone needs to be used now for song 1 and 3. The second song can be performed on the mic also, but it can also be sung live to piano or guitar accompaniment, or unaccompanied if it is your own composition or own choice. Grade 6 to 8, mostly everybody performs all 3 songs on a mic here. Again, here the exception is song 2 if you're singing it with live piano or guitar accompaniment. You do not have to use a mic for session skills. Now, what happens inside that exam room? For your performance, you may stand up, but you may also sit down if you think certain songs need that effect. Examiner plays all the backing tracks for the songs in the Trinity books. The candidate needs to carry the backing tracks only as backup copies. At the beginning, there will be a sound check, which is very, very important, and levels will be set which suit the candidate as well as the examiner. The candidate carries the original book into the exam room. You carry your completed appointment form, and if performing an own choice song or a transposed song, please carry the backing track on a USB stick or CD. Mostly it is carried on a pen drive because quite a few examiners don't have computers with a CD drive. The candidate is allowed to carry their own microphone, though one will be available there at the exam center, and any other equipment needed for their performances. So that was a little bit of information. There's lots in our syllabus, so please do go through our syllabus end to end. Now we're going to move on to the levels of our exams. We've done this at 3 levels: foundation, intermediate, and advanced. The foundation level being grade initial to grade 3, intermediate grades 4 and 5, and advanced grades 6 to 8. And we will be discussing the styles and techniques with a few demos of these levels. And to start this off, I would like to invite Anson back. Anson, please go ahead.
Thank you, Anjali ma'am. Trinity's rock and pop vocal repertoire features a huge range of songs spanning from all contemporary styles, including rock, pop, blues, R&B, soul, etc., giving you an in-depth understanding about singing techniques, music, and the industry, whether self-taught or taking lessons. Learning for fun or heading for a music career in the music industry, these will help you develop valuable skills and achieve your musical ambitions. Now we are going to take a look into some of the styles in the foundation level. The first style we are going to look into is the rock genre. Trust me, everybody loves and everybody knows the rock genre. Rock music is a broad genre of popular music that originated as rock and roll in the United States in the late 1940s and early 1950s, and developed into a range of different styles in the mid 1960s. Rock music is defined by rhythm and not melody. Rock is in 4/4 time, with heavy beats being on 2 and 4. It has a strong male vocals, usually sung in belt register. Electric guitar, organ, bass, and drums are some of the other instruments that are prominent in this style. Timeless Knockin' on Heaven's Door was written by Bob Dylan and has become Dylan's most covered songs, featured in grade initial vocal syllabus. Let's listen to the song.
Mama, take this badge off of me. I can't use it anymore. It's getting dark, too dark to see. I feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door.
Let's move on to grade 1. Reggae is a music genre that originated in America in the late 1960s. And 1962 by Tucson Matters, Do the Reggae was the first popular song to use the word reggae, naming the genre and introducing it to a global audience. One can clearly differentiate a reggae tune from another genre by just identifying the offbeat rhythms. It has vocals being the heart and soul, with the bass usually driving the sound up front, with guitar and piano on offbeats. The song featured in this style in grade 1 is The Tide is High, written by John Holt and the Paragons. It became their fifth number one hit in the UK and replaced John Lennon's Starting Over to become third hit in the US. Let's hear it. Prominent reggae song, The Tide is High. Moving on to grade 2, we have funk. Funk is a music genre that originated in African American communities in the mid 1960s, when the musicians created a rhythmic, danceable new form of music through a mixture of soul music, jazz, rhythms, and blues. Funk features an energetic vocal hook, usually repeated throughout the song, strong bass lines, and a heavy syncopated beat. Funk will want to get you up and dance. The next song was composed and written by Jeff Pastor with Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars, who provides the vocals and drums on the track. You know what's coming up, guys? Hear it.
I'm too hot, hot damn. Police and the fireman, I'm too hot damn. Make a dragon wanna retire, man, I'm too hot damn. Say my name, you know who I am, I'm too hot damn. I'm bad about that money, break it down. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch.
Wow, didn't want to make you get up and dance. Moving on to grade 3, pop. Pop music is a genre of popular music that produces the most hits. Although most singles are also released on an album, songs that became hits almost always share different features and sometimes are called the pop musical formula. They have a catchy melody and are easy to remember and sing along to. Trinity Grade 3 syllabus features the song Adventure of a Lifetime, which is an iconic pop number from the band Coldplay, written by the band along with the Norwegian duo Stargate. The band has a lot of hits in the bag, but this one really stands apart. Let's listen to this.
We are diamonds, you know I feel my heart beating. I feel my heart underneath my skin. Oh, I can feel my heart beating. Oh, you make me feel like I'm alive again. Alive again. Oh, you make me feel like I'm alive again. Turn your magic on.
Coldplay. Moving on to technique. Yes, directly on to grade because grade initial techniques in grade 1. Yes, grade by stereophonics. The technique being showcased in this song are pickup and belt. Most of the phrases in the song begins from the middle of the measure. Count these pickups carefully. The chorus offers a contrast to the verse. This section is intended to be sung with belting technique, that is. listen to the original version of the song to achieve the right sound. Here it is for you.
They say the more you fly, the more you risk the ride. And I'm just looking. I'm not
And moving on to the bell register. And I'm just looking. I'm not by. Phrasing and intervals. See that you phrase effectively across three contrasting sections, which is the short fragmented phrases at the opening, the longer rising phrases at the part, the energetic phrases towards the end. There are also some large intervals, fourths and fifths. This needs to be sung with accuracy.
Let's raise the bar and our cups to the stars. She's a fun night to the sun. I'm a fun night to get some. She's a fun night for good fun. I'm a fun night to get lucky. She's a fun.
Was evident in the first section. Let's raise the bar and the cups to the stars. And we have the interval, the fourth and fifth. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to the sun. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. So those were the intervals. Yes, moving on to break. The techniques in this song are dynamics and control over range. This is a song of contrasting dynamics. The melody begins softly and gently before hitting a sudden fortissimo at the chorus. Be sure to bring out the change carefully without tweaking the microphones. The other main challenge is to control over range. The verse begins low in chest voice before switching to upper chest, called the bell register, which we discussed earlier. This will require a great deal of confidence moving between the two registers. Let's have this.
Yes, sir, I'm a bad boy for breaking her heart. And I'm free falling.
Was really evident to you all. All right. So now we are moving on to the intermediate. For that, I invite Albert to take over.
Thank you, Anson. Wonderful singing. And very good afternoon, guys. Hope you all are there. Speaking on intermediate level, and knowledge of skill which is more advanced than a beginner, but not yet fully expert. Grade 4 and 5 falls under this category. The slide in front of us shows the whole range and variety of styles from funk to dance, soul to folk rock, pop to Motown, and pop to pop rock. So let's do a keen analysis and look into the styles featured in the intermediate level syllabus. Soul. Soul style is a popular form of music born in the United States of America in the late 50s and early 60s. It's largely an African American derived style, incorporating the elements of blues, jazz, rhythm, and most importantly, gospel music. Despite many rhythm and blues artists being well versed in gospel music, there was some resistance to blending sacred music with a genre that was considered by many to be ungodly. Well, having said that, the resulting blend of rhythm and blues, jazz and gospel with secular lyrics came to be known as soul. Now, the artists like Brown, Stevie Wonder, John Legend, and late Amy Winehouse are few names who made this genre popular. Being a hugely emotive genre, soul is most effectively expressed through vocals. Singers often use a wide range of rich vocal timbre, which is expressive in sound and feel, and also in the lyrical content, describing trials and tribulations or love stories and heartbreaks. So it is evident and important to reflect the content of the story in your performance as a vocalist. Let's hear the track. Then you look into my eyes. God knows to my surprise, the only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Yes, he was. Son of a Preacher Man by Dustin Springfield, a London-born British singer. The song was also featured in a scene of a film called Pulp Fiction. Moving on, we have the swing style. Swing style is predominantly about rhythm, as the name suggests, with an emphasis on the offbeat, smoothly moving melody lines and simple harmonic progressions. Swing was music for dance, popularized by the big band ensemble of early jazz. A Duke Ellington hit from the time sums it up perfectly. The title was It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing. Yes, swing music has been popular for decades and embodies total control, coolness, and even a little arrogance. As a singer, one needs to be carefully using these elements whilst creating a smooth, warm, and rich swing sound. The song featured in our grade 5 is Sunday Morning by American pop rock band Maroon 5, which was released as the fourth single from their debut studio album, Songs About Jane. Let's hear the clip.
That may be all I need. In darkness, she is all I see. Come and rest your bones with me. Driving slow on Sunday morning, and I never want to leave.
Yes, thank you. And moving on to the technical focus songs in grade 4 and 5. Here in front of us, we can see a big range of important techniques listed out, which Trinity has included in the syllabus for a consistent and steady growth of a vocal teacher and a student. We can see pitching, breathing, decorated melodic lines, to rap, syncopation. Let's look into a piece featured in grade 4 and observe the two main technical challenges. The song we are taking today is You Do Something to Me by the English singer-songwriter Paul Weller, who released this from his third solo album, Stanley Road. The song features a highly decorated melodic line. Now, what is decorated melodic line? In music, ornaments are musical flourishes, typically added notes that are not essential to carry the overall line of the melody, but they serve instead to decorate that line by giving the opportunity to the artist to add more interest and variety to their performances. Therefore, as a vocal teacher, we need to observe the notation carefully and listen closely to the performance track. These will help you to create all the detail in the phrases, which is very important part of soulful rock vocal style. There is a great contrast in the dynamics as well in the song. From the soft start, to the louder chorus, especially at bar 21, if you listen carefully. You'll have to find an intensity in the softer sound and maintain a full tone at the louder end, avoiding shouting. Let's listen to a clip from the song.
Hanging on the wire, waiting for the change. I'm dancing through the fire just to catch a flame and feel again.
very clearly we could hear that decorated melodic line in the beginning. Hanging on the fire, yeah. I'm waiting for a change. Yes. But moving on to the next song featured in grade 5, guys. This is Shake It Off by one of the world's best selling artists, the American singer songwriter Taylor Swift. Shake It Off is an up tempo dance pop rock track coming out from the fifth album and considered to be a departure from Swift's earlier country pop music style. Looking at the vocal techniques in this song, throughout the song, the melody requires considerable vocal agility to ensure that the octave leaps, general pitching, and diction are all secure. Vocal agility is a healthy singing technique. It is the ability to sing in a fluid and strain-free way without limiting your range and dynamics. The song also needs an extrovert performing style, particularly in the rap section. Not only should this be rhythmically accurate, but you'll also need to deliver it with total
My ex-man bought his new girlfriend. She's like, oh my god, but I'm just gonna shake him to the fella over there with the hella good hair. Won't you come on over, baby, we can shake, shake, shake. Yeah, cause the player's gonna play, baby.
Yeah, so we just heard that rap section from the track, and followed by that was a very prominent vocal agility technique. Yeah. Yeah. So now moving on to the advanced grades, where teaching and learning approach becomes more progressive and a step forward. For this section, I hand over the presentation to Farida ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so we are into advanced level teaching of grade 6, grade 7, grade 8. A quick look at will tell you that you have practically every possible style that you would want to look at or sing at these levels. It moves from rock and pop, which has been done earlier, into upbeat country pop. Grade 7 has dance pop. The ballad has now moved into the epic ballad, the rock ballad. There's the soul ballad. And at grade 8, a fair amount. We had earlier, but more intensive and more changed and altered to suit advanced singing. Let's look at the styles for the various grades. And at grade 6, for male voice, we have the epic Just the Way You Are by Billy Joel. This can very easily be categorized as a jazz ballad. And it's a beautiful style of singing, very, very intimate, very lyrical, yet combines a jazz feel with this very, very soulful style. There's a lot of the blues scale. There's a very relaxed feel, which also means that pitching has to be very, very secure. The main thing with the ballad is it tells a story. Let's listen to Billy Joel's Just the Way You Are.
I would not leave you in times of trouble. We never could have come this far. I took the good times. I'll take the bad times. I'll take you just the way you are.
Tells a story here, and there's a really nice little fun fact I'd like to include here. Billy Joel wrote this song when he was going through a very painful divorce with his first wife. So the story goes that he hated singing the song, even though it was a reflection of his own personal elements. And the band members used to joke with him and replace the words of "I love you just the way with I love you just the way you are" with "She's got the house She's got the car. No wonder Joel didn't like singing it or performing it. On to grade 7, and we have female voice with Nina Simone's Feeling Good. Nina Simone was a legend, and this is a remarkable song, a mix of a show tune and jazz blues. For those familiar with show tunes, the original Feeling Good was written by Newley and Bricuse, taken from the Broadway musical The Roar of Grease Paint. Nina Simone, of course, puts her own very, very personal stamp on this with a lot of syncopation, a lot of musical freedom, underlying raw emotion. Let's take a listen. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Yeah, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. I'm feeling good. All right, and straight on with the grade 8 for female voice, we have the very, very popular Chandelier by Sia. As with most of the grade 8 songs, it's really hard to slot them into one particular style. And Chandelier is definitely a mix. It's a mix of pop and a gentle flowing dance form. It's slow, sensuous, very rhythmic, and it sort of floats into the higher registers, giving it a kind of eerie, ethereal sound, which is quite a difficult style to interpret. Let's listen to it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. I throw them back till I lose count. You're my queen from the chandelier, from the chandelier. Gonna live like tomorrow doesn't exist, like it doesn't exist. Let's move on to technique for the advanced grades. So, grade 6, grade 7, grade 8 has every possible technique that you could use for the voice. There's, of course, diction and tone, which were there in the lower grades as well. But now we come across things like the head voice, rhythmic precision, there's melisma, the chest voice, the upper chest voice, which will include belting, vocal folds, and a fair amount of improvisation. So technically, this is challenging and really fun for singers. We look at the technique for 3 songs from the voice, starting with 6. We have Elton John, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. The 2 main techniques used here are diction, and the diction on this particular song needs to be really energetic, very crisp, very clean, with good articulation. And the second aspect of technique, tonal color. This is especially seen on high notes. The high note can be taken with the head voice or even for intonation. So, two techniques here, the head voice. In the advanced grades, we're seeing a lot of use of the head voice. And when head voice is used, you have to be careful to take care of the intonation, especially when you place the high notes. There is the vibrato. It's very effective in a song like this, but carefully placed vibrato so as not to lose pitch. And of course, rhythmic precision, because there's a lot of syncopation. So please ensure when you're doing a song like this that the main beat is absolutely spot on. We listen to it. And at grade 8, we're looking at Sam Smith's Lay Me Down. And this is a giant of a song for male voice. Beautiful, beautiful song to do. But the two technical aspects that we're really going to look at here is tonal variety. So rock and pop have a lot of tonal variety, huge contrasts from very, very soft to very loud, and some shattering falsettos, which need to be done really well. And the second aspect is melisma, which is the quick movement of notes moving up or down a vocal scale. Very clean, very fluid runs, and there's a lot of that in Lay Me Down. Let's listen.
Can I lay by your side next to you?
That was Sam Smith, Lay Me Down. And now let's look at female voices and the techniques being used. At grade 6, we have Sinead O'Connor with Nothing Compares to You. And the two main things that stand out technically with this song are the technique of blues notes, flattened notes, which are very, very blue and need a strong sense of intonation and very, very secure pitch. And the second aspect with this beautiful ballad is emotion. A lot of involvement, a lot of intensity, a combination of these two, and you've got a great performance going. Let's listen.
It's been 7 hours and 15 days since you took your love away. I go out every night and sleep on.
So you could hear those beautifully flattened blue notes being done so very carefully and so well that